has more fun than people? That's what Robert Quinn always used to say. He loved people. He loved being around them and having a good time. Not surprisingly, his love of people is what led him to the armed services in the first place. A bunch of his friends had signed up, and he didn't want to miss the chance to hang out with them. To be honest, he fully expected his service to include days of playing basketball with his buddies. Robert and his friends from the Sioux were ultimately called to active duty in the Korean War. Robert didn't speak much about his experiences in the war, but he did share a few details with family. He spoke about the tasks he'd been assigned to perform. Building a lot of bridges only to blow them up, but the thing that sticks out most in Robert's war stories is his description of a Korean soldier that he had once encountered. His description of this young man wasn't filled with hate for the enemy combatant. Instead, it was the description of a young man much like himself, with fear in his eyes. He likely had a family just like Robert, and Robert instinctively recognized the humanity of another young soldier. Robert loved people, and because of that, he hated wars involving human death and suffering. He recoiled at the sound of guns after returning to civilian life, and he spoke very little of his time in active duty. It should surprise no one that Robert enjoyed the social benefits of being a veteran, though. You could regularly find Robert hanging out with his friends at the VFW, continuing his quest to have as much fun as one can squeeze into a lifetime. This was brought to you by Jackson Quinn Andres, Robert Quinn's great-great-grandson.